because if you don't mind me diving into my very first match,
No, please.
um, I was so nervous. Peed 16 times, didn't even have a single thing to drink that day. And I get told at the day of us having this little student show at the end of our first 12 weeks of training, I was told I'd be going up against our head coach. And at the time, our head coach was Jeremiah Plunkett. He's the one who broke me into the wrestling business, taught me all the basics, and I was told I was going to be going up against him. So I had no idea what to think about that. I was incredibly nervous because, yes, this is the man who trained me, but we hadn't been doing matches yet, anything like that. And I knew he was going to take care of me in the match. But also, I was extremely scared to screw up everything.
It feels like a
Or,
double-edged sword, right? Because on one hand, there's a lot more pressure because A, you know how talented he is, and B,
hmm,
you know, like, if anybody's expecting something out of you, it's going to be him. But on the other hand,
hmm.
obviously, there's that familiarity and comfort where you're like, okay, I know he's great and I know he can take care of me and he knows my weaknesses. So I guess I can see it's like great and extremely nerve wracking at the same time.
Oh yeah, and I still get like that when it comes to wrestlers I haven't wrestled with before, especially if it's somebody that it doesn't matter if they're on the same side of the ring as me or if they're on the opposite side. If it's somebody that I look up to or I have watched wrestle and I have a huge amount of respect for them, always makes me extremely nervous. The latest episode of NWA Power across the ring for me is Red Titus and Trevor Murdoch, and on my side of the ring is Dak Draper. And I got to know Dak a little bit over his short time being with the NWA. I've also got to know Rhett over his time being in the NWA and watching a few of his matches in ROH before ROH kind of did. I guess they shut their doors for a little while before Tony Khan bought him out. And then Trevor was another one of those dastardly heels that I absolutely hated during the Ruthless Aggression era. Him and Lance Cade, they were terrorizing my tag team wrestling division. I just couldn't have it. And so I'm finally getting to work against Trevor and Rhett, two people that I have a lot of respect for, especially Trevor because again, big fan of his growing up. Well, not so much a fan, I guess the opposite of a fan because he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
But I came into that match extremely nervous. Obviously, not as nervous as I was for the very first match, but knowing how good Plunkett was, how smooth the guy was, and how great he was in the ring, obviously it was going to be nerve wracking because who am I? Just a lowly Matthew Mims, just one of his students, and I wouldn't even say I was one of the best students or whatnot. They told me I was a good student. I wouldn't think I was the best student. I still thought I was pretty awkward. I had to unlearn a lot of things coming into pro wrestling, and so what really made me understand that this is the passion that I need to take with me, that I need to make this my life's work, is that I was so nervous beforehand and I was so worried about screwing up. And when that music hit and I walked out for the first time, something just clicked. It was a weird feeling. It was a different feeling. It was something that, you only kind of feeling like those really, really good dreams you have when
Mm.
you go to sleep and you're just like, yeah, this is the dream where I have the fancy Ferrari, I have the big house, I have this going on, that going on, or either I'm a stunt driver and I know I'm about to hit this big flip and I'm going to hit it flawlessly. Those fantastic good dreams whenever those happen. That's kind of the feeling that hits me every time I walk out of the curtain. And it happened with this exact match on the very first match. And it kind of happens to me every single time I walk out. I have this thing about me to where before every match, I'll go over my head a few times and I'll get kind of nervous beforehand. And so the thing is that my nervous brain will forget everything we're supposed to do in this match right before I go out. If it's within the last 5 to 10 minutes before our match, I guarantee you I forgot every single thing we're gonna do. Don't know what it is. That's never fails. It happens every time with every match. We can talk about it up and down. We can prepare for it for hours beforehand, days beforehand. Doesn't matter. 5 to 10 minutes before we go out, I forgot everything. I don't remember
Mine
a
goes
single thing.
blank.
Exactly. Mine goes blank. I'm struggling to remember the entirety of this match. But the moment I hit that curtain, it's kind of like I go into autopilot and I'm in that dream mode. So I'm reenacting everything I thought of with this match and how exactly I wanted to walk through it. And it's kind of like you go from having a blank slate, your mind went blank, to being in this state of flow. And that's kind of what it is for me when it comes to pro wrestling. and that kind of feeling, I feel like that feeling is what they talk about when they say this pro wrestling thing is addictive. When they say you get addicted to that feeling, and I feel like I'm definitely addicted to that feeling. I got hooked on it the first time. The first time I was like, "Yep, no, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life."
It just felt right. You knew.
Oh yeah, it felt right. I knew it was something that I felt for a long time. I've done a lot of sports in my life. I've done a lot of different things in my life. And, certain things didn't feel like they fit. Some things felt like a close fit. Football felt like it was a close fit. I was very good at football. Um, and it was something that I enjoyed doing, but it just didn't feel right. It felt like I was close to what I was getting at. Same thing with amateur wrestling. I felt like I was very, very close to what I really needed to be doing. Once I got into pro wrestling, that's the first thing that I was just like, no, I know I'm supposed to be here. I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my life's work. And that was the moment that kind of confirmed it. That was the moment that verified it. And I'm just glad that moment happened to be with Jeremiah Plunkett.
Yeah,